Straight to penthouse, Miami Beach. Yo, talk crazy on tweets. They don't want it cause I come to defeat. They don't want it. I peep, these niggas all sweet. Bamboo sticks all in the Jeep.
Hey Stunner, welcome back to Vlogs. I'm so glad that you could join me for another upload. So today's project is quite the undertaking. I have like 24 hours left of like my deadline and I'm so sure that I can make it. I just spent the whole day resting so that I could be on my Zoom. Okay, so let's get started. I did something really cool with my hair, so I have the compulsion to paint and I don't like the direction of the piece that I've been working on, so I just want to try something completely new, but I need inspo, so nothing is making fireworks go off in my brain. So I basically decided that I was going to curate a look and do a painting based off of that. I mean, why not? It's basically like I'm doing two paintings in one. You guys should really appreciate me for this, but I absolutely loved every part of this process. I think it was a fun way to get out of my own creative box. I will say that this video has been ready for you guys for I think the past 3 days or so, but I was really just going over because I love intention, so I want the messaging in my videos to always be, you know, intentional regardless of how randomly it finds me. And I think that throughout the whole process of doing this, I was just admiring how much I've grown in my craft. And like this past year, for example, I really decided to just lock in and teach myself, you know, art history and go a bit deeper into the concepts that I naturally have always gravitated towards in terms of my craft. And I love it so much. It feels so affirming to go back in history and find that the greats had the same line of thinking as you. One of my absolute favorite creators on here always speaks about the importance of solitude as an artist, and I feel like that downtime did me really good. I used to always admire how quickly and consistently the likes of Basquiat would produce pieces, and that really is just a product of taking the time out to fill their wells of inspiration. And so I was like, let me do the same, because you can't pour from an empty cup, babe. So after going through all the photos, I landed on this one for my painting because I feel like it touches on, well, I think it's quite a fun art Greek concept that has everything to do with how you portray your subject in a piece. Because there's a big difference between painting someone and they're looking directly at the audience, where there's an instant connection, you can gauge the emotions, versus when you paint a subject looking away and there's an added layer of divinity there because of how immersed the subject seems to be in their own world. And I feel like for a self-portrait, this is quite a cute idea, because that is exactly the stage and headspace that I'm at right now. I'm deeply immersed in my own world. I feel like thinking about a project before I started like a whole lot. Yeah, we say it's a bad thing, but it gets me excited, honestly. Like, what do you mean? I have this visual in my mind of how this thing's gonna get edited and how it's gonna look and the vibe it's gonna like, and I just do that. Like, I just make it happen. Genius. In my artistry, I feel like I've always been encouraged to look outside of myself, just appreciate like my environment first. And you know what, I think that served me well for so long. And the more I grow, the more I realize that like there isn't such a disconnect in, I think I've described how I see the world to you guys quite a few times. There isn't quite a disconnect between like the beauty that I see on the outside and my internal landscape, because I see the love that I am everywhere. And that is something that's really helped me to become so much more appreciative of the strong sense of self which my ideas just blossom from. And you see it in absolutely everything that I put out, whether it just be like my photos or even how this portrait turns out at the end. I'm not someone that loves like negative space. I love filling up my space with like vibrant colors and just dynamic textures, because I feel like that's a reflection of the rich tapestry that is my life. And in a world where it's so hard for people to grasp dimension at times and things get so lost in translation. I feel like I'm so grateful to have such a deep understanding of my character and all of my layers, and that embodiment of my philosophies just makes me so happy. Outside of what it does for me personally, it just feels like I'm showing up in connections a whole lot more authentically. It makes me feel good about the stuff that I put together and the ways that I decide to put stuff together on this creative platform, and it really just keeps me open now that I think about it, because I'm not operating from a place of lack, and I'm always very receptive. There's nothing I enjoy more than when you guys message me after watching uploads and you want to delve into a concept a little bit more. I want to hear what you think. I try my best to always keep a teachable spirit. I know what I know myself, but I'm also open to adding to that. For someone who grew up quite scared of the world and just not sure of their place in it, I have absolutely grown to love pivots, starting anew. The fact that I can just decide. I don't know what safety net I'm trusting in, but I feel like there's just a deep knowing that things are gonna work out for your greater good all the time. So just leading with that has really helped me to stay open and experimental in my craft and my wisdom. And because funnily enough, I've always liked toying around with backgrounds in my photography and my pieces, but just going back to the art history chat, I stumbled on so many cool artists who did the same thing way before my time, and I think I just love how there's a golden thread in intention. I have always been cognizant of how I do things and why I do things the way that I do them, and I just feel with this piece in particular, because I have produced a lot of art pieces over my complex lifetime, and I've only done a handful of self-portraits, and so I really feel just the messaging behind this, it just felt so intimate. I love when art feels because it is a personal thing, but I have always been more than happy to share my craft and share my ideas through creativity in any form. I feel up until now I've spoken about this piece quite broadly, but I really don't just want to leave a huge art delineation in the description box below. I want us to go through this together and break down the concepts for you a little bit. So in the self-portrait, I've captured myself gazing away, very immersed in my own world, like I've said before. And even though there isn't that instant connection to the subject, I'm not looking directly at you and you can't really gauge where my head is at, I still feel there are quite a bit of clues in this piece that make it a whole lot more personal, that create that connection, but not as instantly. So the blue hue represents my internal landscape. Blue is also my favorite color, but the blue hue really just represents my inner world, where I'm immersed in my own reflections, and the subtle brushstrokes of blue going in different directions just symbolize the various currents that I have navigated through in life. And the green leaves and branches in the background, I had so much fun with this color palette. I feel it just added a real freshness to the piece. I don't know what it was, but I love it so much, and that just really signifies growth and renewal. So this piece is really just an introspective exploration on my own journey, inviting the viewer to ponder the complexities of the human experience. You got to think about it a little bit more. I'm not telling you, where my head is at. You just got to sit with it. And as you know, there's nothing we love more on Luna Vlogs than sitting with things and mulling them over. Sometimes you try and lay it all out there on one piece, you can immediately deduce what the emotions are and whatnot, but I am such a fan of just also cultivating a unique experience for my viewer, giving you the chance to connect with the piece in your own way. Like what is your brain telling you about this?
Can try.